Last week I attended the memorial for the victims of the 7th of July London bombings. And there is no more powerful reminder of the gravity of the threat we face as a country. So today we publish a new counter-terrorism strategy that is our response to that continuing and evolving threat. 2011 has been a momentous year in counter-terrorism. We have witnessed dramatic events that are, as we speak, changing the nature of the threat we face. So the Arab Spring brings with it huge opportunity for us and for the people of the region, but it also carries risks. It has significantly damaged al-Qaeda's ideology of violence as the only solution. And in the long run, political and economic development may well mean fewer angry and dispossessed young men turning to terrorism. But in the meantime, the further breakdown in law and order might be exploited by terrorists. 6 months after the start of the Tunisian uprising, the results of the Arab Spring are still not certain. And 2 months after the death of Osama bin Laden, the full impact of his demise is also still not entirely clear. Though it has proved resilient in the past, al-Qaeda as a centralised command and control organisation may not survive the fall of bin Laden and the rise of democracy in the Arab and Muslim majority world. But increasingly, the threat to Britain comes not just from al-Qaeda's core leadership itself, but from these so-called al-Qaeda affiliates. And that's why yesterday's change to the domestic threat level does not mean that the overall threat we face has fallen. The domestic threat level from al-Qaeda-inspired terrorism is now judged to be substantial, meaning an attack is a strong possibility and could occur without further warning. But the threat level we face from other countries is higher. A key principle of contest is that we must tackle that threat at source rather than waiting for it to come to our shores. And we must also remember that the threat level to Great Britain from Northern Irish-related terrorism remains substantial. So it is clear that we are at a moment of significant change. That change brings opportunities and it brings threats. At the same time as we try to seize the opportunities, we must also guard against the threats. And that's why our new counter-terrorism strategy is so important. It is both comprehensive and wide-ranging. It deals with grand strategic issues and detailed technological points. The new contest remains based on the familiar 4 Ps: pursue, prevent, protect and prepare, but there will be significant changes within the strategy. It shows we will continue to work hard, including with our international partners, to maintain our intelligence coverage of the threats we face. It sets out how we will seek to prosecute more of those we know are engaged in terrorist-related activity. It gives us a better targeted and more effective prevent programme. It learns the lessons from 7/7, Mumbai and other attacks, and it prepares us for the Olympics. Between January 2009 and December 2010, over 600 people were arrested for terrorist-related offences in the UK. That is more than in any other European country. But not all of those arrested can be prosecuted, and not all of those identified covertly can even be arrested. Our approach will combine tough, targeted restrictions under the new terrorism prevention and investigation measures with significantly increased resources for covert surveillance and investigation, new measures to support prosecutions, and a renewed effort to get assurances from foreign governments to allow us to deport foreign terrorist suspects. As we seek to prosecute terrorists, we must also seek to maintain the intelligence coverage which leads us to their activity in the first place. This is a real challenge. There is nothing automatic about it. The continued diversification of the terrorist threat, which I've already discussed, means we must work more closely with our partners overseas. And advances in technology mean our response must improve to keep pace. Our Communications Capabilities Development Programme will ensure that our investigative capabilities are maintained in the face of rapid changes in digital technology. Legislation will be brought forward to put in place the necessary regulations and safeguards to ensure that the response to this technological challenge is both proportionate and appropriate. As well as doing more to identify, prosecute and convict suspected terrorists, we also need to do more to stop people being drawn into terrorist-related activity in the first place. That's why last year I launched a review of the existing counter-radicalisation strategy known as PREVENT, And last month I announced the conclusions of that review and outlined our new approach. The new Prevent strategy has a broader scope than the programme we inherited. That means, for the first time, tackling the non-violent extremism, which can create an atmosphere conducive to terrorism and can popularise views which terrorists exploit. The message from the last year is stark. Al-Qaeda is failing. Its weakened and beleaguered leadership is becoming more and more irrelevant. We have an opportunity to exploit and a continued challenge to guard against. Al-Qaeda's ideology is discredited, but it endures. Its leaders are dying, but the threat remains. We know it is diversifying and continues to be dangerous. That is why our new counter-terrorism strategy is so important. It's why we need a new focus on identifying, prosecuting and convicting terrorist suspects. It's why we need a more targeted and more effective Prevent programme. It's why we need to learn the lessons from 7/7, Mumbai and other attacks. And it's why we need to prepare for the challenge of the Olympics. We face a continuing threat, but we have an unprecedented opportunity. This strategy will help us to exploit it. Thank you.